and welcome back to another episode of The Parting Glass, the show where we celebrate inspiring Dubliners and share extraordinary stories of resilience, determination and triumph. I am absolutely thrilled to bring you a guest whose story truly embodies all of that and more. Joining us is none other than actor, award-winning actor, comedian, award-winning podcaster, proud Ballymun native, and all-round working-class hero, Willa White. As a huge fan, I can't tell you how excited I am to have him on the show. Willa's journey is one of incredible courage and transformation. As a child, he has always had a passion for entertaining and performing, and he saw it in his own words, an escape from violence at home. He started using drugs at just age 9. His battle with addiction would lead him down a dangerous path, moving to London where things fell apart. His addiction worsened, landing him in a psychiatric hospital, followed by a stint in a prison in London and later in Mountjoy Prison. But Willa's resilience shone through. He started his road to recovery in prison. He got clean in 2001. He credits this 12-step programme with helping him find sobriety, and he hasn't looked back since. His comedy career kicked off in 2006 after starring in Des Bishop's Joy in the Hood, a breakthrough he credits Des for. Earlier this year, Willa sold out 2 shows at Liberty Hall, and now he's set for his biggest headline show yet with The White Stuff at the Olympia Theatre on Friday the 18th of October, which is also sold out. Willa is not just a regular at comedy clubs and festivals across Ireland. He's worked alongside legends like Jason Byrne, Tommy Tiernan and Kevin Bridges and Neil Delamere. And if that's not enough, he also co-hosts the award-winning podcast You Must Be Jokin with his best friend Eric Lawler. But despite all his success, Willa remains grounded, insisting he's not famous, just popular. He still has his day job as a scaffolder, and he includes stories from the sites he works on in his material. Today, we're diving into Willa's story of survival, comedy and finding strength. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming the hilariously talented Willa White to The Parting Glass. Welcome, Willa.
Thanks very much, Niamh. Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome to Dundrum.
Yeah, the south side of the city.
Yeah.
I got jet lag in Georgetown on the way over.
You're in the leafy suburbs now.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Lots of yummy mummies around here and lots of Range Rovers.
At least I know my van will be there when I get back in anyway. That's for sure.
First of all, congratulations on selling out the iconic Olympia. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I actually done the Gaiety as well. You forgot to mention.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I sold out the Gaiety in 4 weeks, which is a big achievement.
Amazing.
So I was the first comedian to play the Gaiety since Billy Connolly. And it was amazing. I remember going in and being in the green room and just trying to literally take it all in, the surroundings and how iconic the building was and how much it was steeped in history.
Yeah.
And the greats that graced the stage. And then you've got this young fella from Ballymun kind of going, what's the story like? And, you know, it's lights and it's sound and you walk out. And I mean, as I've said to loads of people, I mean, there's no drug or no drink that has ever given me the feeling that I get when I walk out on a stage, be it the Olympia, be it the Gaiety, be it a comedy club, be it a pub with 50 people in it, whatever it might be. There's nothing that replaces that high for me. And I think that's kind of what I thrive on. I thrive for it's just the excitement and the adrenaline of it, you know?
Yeah. I can't help but thinking, because I've been, during my research, you said that you were homeless at one time. In the city.
I was homeless at a few times, yeah.
And I just keep thinking of like 1 minute you're homeless, the next minute you're selling out the Olympia. Like people in Dublin might have been passing you by to go into the Olympia, and now you're playing that. Like I literally have goosebumps every time I think of that. And
that's what I say. Like, I mean, people passed me by on the streets. Like nobody wanted to know me, and I suppose like a lot of homeless people that are out there, they remain invisible and nobody wants to see them. Do you know what I mean? But then you've got 1,200 people coming into a theatre to come and see you then. Do you know what I mean? So you just don't know who you're passing by or what's going to happen with them, you know. Yeah. Obviously, loads of them slip through the cracks and some of them end up on that road for a long time and some of them end up in psychiatric units or some of them might end up in prisons and a lot of them end up dying, but there is a small chance that someone somewhere along the line will make a success. My story is very, very unique.
It is.
In a sense, you know, and I'm very, very lucky and I'm very, very fortunate. I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
And I'll always remain humble. Do you know what I mean? And I'll never think I've arrived anywhere at all.
You say that, the way you say that, I will always remain humble. Like, that couldn't have been truer. I've never met somebody, like, I'm probably sitting here a little bit starstruck and you're just like, hey, like, what's the story? Like, yeah, I'm just been in work today. And you have your day job.
Yeah, like, I have
is
a
your day job. Is it like that's something that you want to keep?
I want to keep it for as long as I need to keep it, I suppose, you know. I'm very fortunate that I've got a great boss. He's an amazing fella, and I always tell people how amazing he is. He's got an amazing story himself, and he really supports me in what I do, and he helps me. And if I need a bit of time off, he's great. And he's told me, he says, look, if you hit the big time, he said, I'll be the first one to shake your hand. He says, when you're walking out the gate, he says, but he says, I'll leave the gate a little bit open for you just in case, you know. And
you need that like support.
100%. I just think that a lot of people can't follow their dreams with what they want to do because they haven't got the supports to do it. I have got the supports. I've got the platform. It's just the case now. It's all lined up for me. I've just got to go and knock it all down, like, you know.
Yeah, brilliant. I seen you in Belfast a few weeks ago. It was fantastic. In the limelight, and it was kind of an intimate, wasn't it? A kind of intimate gig. It was really good and really enjoyed it. But you come out. I don't know if you're doing this in the Olympia tomorrow, but you came out to like a backdrop of the Ballymun Flats.
Yeah.
And I love the way you say it was a shithole, but it was my shithole.
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly what it was, you know.
Yeah, even though like at the end of the day, like, that's your home, you know, and that's where you're from. Yeah,
it definitely is. And I mean, still to this day, I always, if people ask me where I'm from, I always tell them I'm from Ballymun.
Yeah.
But I live wherever I live, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So my area hasn't defined kind of who I am. It's been part of me. It's been a lot of me growing up. And I mean, like a lot of working class areas and a lot of places like that, there's a lot of good people there, like, you know, there really, really is. And unfortunately, it's just a small minority of places that, or people, I should say, that give her a bad name. Like, so, you know, I always say that bad news always sells. Like, no one wants to know about the good things about Ballymun or the good things that people are doing or the clubs, or no one wants to know about the Ballymun running club that went over to Rome last week and ran the marathon, or, you know, any of this kind of stuff. Or the guy, Jerry Prendergast, that done a decade, who done 10 Ironmans in 10 days and won the competition over in England. Yeah. Nobody knows about him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But they know about Anto, who stabbed somebody to death, or they know about someone who got shot, or the tragedy of it. Bad news sells.
I know it is part of your material as well. Like, and you say, like, how'd you spot a drug dealer in the flats? It's like the one with the satellite dish.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, come here, everybody kind of knew everybody where we lived, and a lot of the time we were all just kind of in the one big pot, like, you know, it's like Katrina O'Sullivan says, like, there's poor and then there's poor, like, you know. My family was really kind of lucky in a sense, my sister and myself and mother and father, that my dad had a job. He worked semi-state for Telecom Iron, it was at the time, and my mother worked as a Hoffman presser in the rag trade, and like, materialistically growing up, we didn't want for that. We always had kind of clean clothes and all that, but we were starved of love and affection as kids. Like, we'd no love and we'd no affection, which I think every child should be given and should be nurtured as they grow up. Like, it's an essential part of your growth as a kid to know what love and to know what, you know, what it is to feel emotions and stuff like that.
As Bernardo said, and I heard that on the radio on the way in, he said, like, childhood lasts a lifetime, you know, and it does.
It certainly does. I mean, like, the only feelings I really knew was happiness, sadness and fear. Like, that was it. And the first one that I used, the happiness, there wasn't like an awful lot of it. Like my childhood was very much so fear-based and being sad, like just with me dad. Like, I mean, just like I come from generational trauma. Me father came from it as well, and he'd no outlet to deal with what he was dealing with. I mean, at least men today and women today, if they had something that happened in their childhood, I mean, you can go to these establishments and you can talk to psychotherapists and you can talk to a counsellor and you can do therapy and you can do breathing techniques and you can jump into cold baths. And men back then and women back then saw their answer either in the bottom of a glass in a pub or in the bottom of a tablet bottle. That's just the way it was. It was all pushed down and suppressed by that. Nobody talked about their feelings. Nobody wanted to tell other people that they were weak or that they were struggling, like, you know, because it was tough enough as it was.
And then that anger came out on your family.
100%, yeah. Yeah, it was me dad, God be good to him, was a very violent man and a very very traumatised man, and knew no other way to channel it, only kind of the way that he seen his father do the same to his mother, like, you know. So it was kind of brought down, and lucky enough for me, I was kind of the one that broke the chain of the whole lot of it. You know, I never raised my hand to a woman. The only person I kind of ever had trouble with as a girl was me sister, like me oldest sister Susan, like, so. But apart from that, no, my father, in a sense, was one of my best teachers, you know.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't know he was at the time, you know, but he was, like, he taught me an awful lot of right through his wrongs. Yeah. You know? Yeah. If that makes any sense.
You were from Shangaan. Like, there was great hopes for Ballymun in the 60s. And I remember, I don't know if you ever go into the RTE archives and the website, it's really, really good. But you can see, like, when the flats were first built and the hopes that they had, because they were the first with central heating. They had loads. They were supposed to have, like, modern amenities, indoor plumbing. Sure, that was a big thing in the 60s.
24-hour hot water.
Hot water, plans for schools and recreation facilities. But, you know, by the 70s and the 80s, unemployment, drug addiction, crime just eroded the community. And then it was, by the 90s, it was regarded as a failure of urban planning.
It's gas. Like you think of all these posh houses being built now, and they're all putting in their underfloor heating. Like, we'd underfloor heating in the 70s.
And they were actually really
were way ahead
spacious,
of it. Like,
the flats.
They were great. I mean, you used to do your washing in the washing machine, and you'd put your jeans on the floor. My ma had an old twin tub. And, you know, when your stuff would get spinned, if you wanted dry jeans for the next day, just lay them out on the sitting room floor, and they were literally bone dry the next morning you got up, like. You know, so they were a great idea. We were the biggest flat complex in Europe, but I don't think they really thought it through that much. And unfortunately, they repeated the same mistakes not so long ago again when they done the regeneration, and they put a mask on the place and they done nothing for the amenities in it. We were promised a shopping centre, we were promised this, we were promised that, and we got nothing, like, you know. It was like all the builders come in, the contractors come in, they all made a killing, they all made a fortune, and they were just left, people were just left abandoned in somewhere that looks kind of half decent now if you're driving through to get to the airport.
You say the word abandoned, and that really kind of, like, sticks out to me, because it just feels like that's exactly what it was, just abandoned, you know, kind of just forgotten. And it's like, oh yeah, the Dublin Corporation's going to sort this out, and they're going to get this and we're going to get that, and they never did.
No, it's false promises, like, you know. It was like, I really, like, and Ballymun still has its problems, like, you know, it has poverty. I see it. I go up every now and again. My eldest nephew still lives up there, and I go up and I drive through it and I see it, and it saddens me. Yeah. You know, it saddens me that these people that, if, like the chance I got, were kind of tapped into and honed in on and nurtured and given a bit of time and given a bit of guidance, they could have done so much more, like, and they didn't. Like, they were just deprived and just never given the kind of the chances and the things. And look, it's a class thing as well. Like, I mean, it's contained in the area that it's in. It's there's drugs being sold.
Don't put it on your CV. Like,
yeah, look, like people come into the area and buy drugs, and that suits the government and suits the guards because it doesn't go into the more affluent areas. Like, I mean, you don't see, refugees or people that come into the country being put into hotels in Blackrock or Dalkey or any of these places. Why not? Because they wouldn't have it. Yeah. And they have a voice and they have money. Yeah. But where there's poverty and no money, like all you can do, like the people that are down in Coolock, is resort to violence and trouble. Like, they know no better. Like, I think everybody deserves a house and everybody deserves a home. And my opinion is, if you come in from another country, obviously, yeah, if this country came under, war, there was war here and we had to go to, say, Belgium, Jesus, we'd hate to be in them conditions. But I think that people need to be vetted. We need to know who's coming in. And I think if you're getting, and this is just my opinion, and I think if you're getting a social welfare payment off your government, that if you're here and you're vetted and you're fit for work, go out and do a bit of community work 20 hours a week, which will allow you then to get that social welfare payment. And the country will become a lot better. Yeah. And it just gets people into the rhythm of working, that when a job does come up, it's not like, they can just go and do it, like,
Yeah. You've spoken about growing up in a violent home, okay, and you said that you were turned into performance. So performing is something that you've always done, but then you were always into the bit of acting and the performing, and you loved that. But then you got into drugs kind of very early on.
Yeah.
Like, I have a 9-year-old son, and I just cannot get my head around.
Yeah, I was probably younger than 9. I remember sniffing glue as a kid, and I could have been, we had 8 or 9, I'd say it was, and I remember the older lads kind of doing it, that were about 12 and 13, and I kind of, wondered what it was about, and I remember trying
it.
It's
just insane,
I know,
isn't
it's
it? Like,
crazy.
When you think of it, like
I remember looking back in the 80s when there was kids glue sniffing in town in O'Connell Street and stuff like that, but I remember doing that for the first time, and I remember the feeling I got out of it. It was like that kind of warmth and kind of hug, and it was the stuff I was kind of missing out at home, and it kind of took me away from everything that was going on where I lived, and it was just it's kind of like that movie, it was just a great escape, like, it was a short-term solution to a problem that wasn't going to go away until it was addressed or until I kind of got older. But I mean, as I got older, the drugs progressed, and before you know it, you're up to your neck in it. Like, and I never really thought that drugs were the problem. I always thought it was something else, but it was. And people would say, I used to think for years as well that Ballymun was the problem, and Ballymun was never the problem. The problem began and ended with me all the time, and I'm very aware. I have been aware of that now for a long, long time. Like,
Yeah. You mentioned you lost your lovely mum recently in May this year. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah,
she used to say, didn't she, like, you sorting yourself out is better than winning the lotto.
Yeah, I actually remember her saying that to me in the Access.
I can get that, like, as a mum, like.
Yeah, come here, listen. I mean, as a mother for your kids, all you want is the best for them, you know what I mean? She was an amazing woman. It's actually my sister's anniversary today as well. She's 14 years dead, my only sister. So I kind of said it the other night, I was somewhere, and I said, I kind of didn't, sign up to come into recovery to be getting ringside seats at the deaths of everybody in my family, like, do you know what I mean? But I mean, that's just the way it was, and I was obviously meant to be there to do different things, like, I remember when my sister passed and first, it was a Sunday afternoon, and she died of cervical cancer, and she's only 44, and it was just so wrong. And then my dad went in 2016,
and those
in Harold's Cross.
Awful tragedies could have affected your sobriety, could it?
Yeah, well, they could have if I'd have wanted. I mean, I've got no excuses to use or take drugs anymore. Do you know what I mean? If I use or take drugs now, it's a choice. It's like me saying, do I want to drink of that water? And if I want to drink of water, I pick it up and I drink it, like, but if I don't want it, I don't go near it. So it's like, I don't have any excuses. I don't buy into that when people say, or I drank or I used because this happened. Like,
it's so funny you should say that, because John Boland was here and he said exactly the same thing. I said that it's all over the news now because Ireland is the biggest user of cocaine in Europe. Because people are very stressed, people are very under pressure, people are, everything's gone very expensive. And I said, I can understand why people are using now at that rate. And he was like, no, like that's an excuse, like that's a choice. People
definitely
need to address the root of why they're doing it in the first place.
Well, come here, things are so expensive and people are under pressure. I mean, buying cocaine ain't going to make things any cheaper, is it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just another financial outlay for something that you probably haven't got money for, when maybe you could be buying school books for your kids or shopping or paying off a bill or whatever. I always think there's a deeper root to it, like, and I don't care where you're from, whether you're from, Blackrock or Ballymun, like everybody has a reason to use. I just kind of feel a little bit saddened for the people that are from, disadvantaged areas and working class areas, that it just takes them so much longer, even if they want to stop, to get into treatment, to get the resources, to do what you need to do. Whereas if you come from a family that has a few quid, it's no bother for your mommy or dad to dish out 30 quid or 30 grand and send you up to the Rutland for 6 weeks and try to get you sorted out. I mean, 30 grand is a serious financial outlay for any family that comes from where I'm coming from or areas that I'm coming from like that. So you got to get in line and you got to get on the public waiting train and hope that you're fucking still alive by the time it comes around to you. Because a lot of people have died or took their own lives while waiting to get into treatment.
Do you feel like I shouldn't even be here when you think of the amount that you're using?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I was only talking to a guy the other day and I said, my next show that I'm going to write for next year is going to be called Dead Man Talking. Because I realistically should have been well gone before my mother and my father. I was, and my sister, I was cut down off a window in a psychiatric hospital in London in 1996, so only for a patient walked in and seen me, like I'd have been gone, like, and just loads of different circumstances of events that happened to me. Like, I really genuinely and sincerely should not be here, but through the grace of God and whatever powers that might be on the divine intervention by other people, that, if the stars just kind of aligned and I seen a gap in the door and I went bleeding through it, like,
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, so am I, yeah.
I want to go back to your Des Bishop's days, right? Back to the beginning, the Joy in the Hood, and it was a big break for you. I can't believe that was 18 years ago, because I remember watching it.
No, either can I.
Oh, I can't believe that. Like, love Des Bishop. What was he like?
Des is a great fella. Me and Des were mates before the programme.
Oh, right.
But yeah, he's a good bloke. I was talking to him a few weeks ago. He's back living in America and he's doing really good in the States. I have a friend of mine who lives in LA and he went to see him two weeks ago in the Comedy Improv on Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles, is where my mate lives. And I called him the next day and he said it was amazing. He said he was brilliant. Like, and Des is just an amazing storyteller.
Yeah.
He's got a lovable, likeable thing about him. He's easy on the eye for the women. And he's just a great fella. And he's gone back to the States. He lives in America now. He married a beautiful woman. And he always kind of wanted to get married and settle down. And he met a lovely girl. And he's over there and he's happily married. And he's a great bloke. And he comes back every now and again. Or, always stays in touch, sends a text or whatever it might be. And he's been always very helpful and always pushed me.
Yeah.
Always says, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that and you need to push for this and you need to push for that,
I would actually love to, like, I remember you and Eric were like the star students on that. Like, you were like, you probably stood out, but I loved Donna on it and I loved Anto, the security guard. And he was like, oh, I remember his thing was going off and he was like, where are you? And he was like, I'm just doing an audition here. Right, I loved that bit. That was brilliant. And that was so funny.
That's just the realness of it, wasn't it? I mean, we were the pilot programme, so we were...
just doing an audition.
Yeah, no, we didn't know if it was even going to happen, and it did happen. And when it happened, And then he done the show off the back of it, and he took us on tour with him as well. It was like...
Brilliant.
We were going, like, we were playing in the Cork Opera House.
It's such a good idea, like.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant idea, but I mean...
actually loved when he went up into the penthouse of one of the towers.
Yeah.
And he was like, with the console and all, they were like...
Yeah.
And he was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, he always had great ideas for TV. I mean, even in The Name of the Fodder.
Yeah.
About
and
the Irish.
What was the one where he did the minimum wage jobs?
That was, what was that called again?
I can't remember what that was called, but that was so
That
good.
was brilliant, yeah.
And he did the trolleys and all. He was
That
like,
was the
everybody wants a fucking small trolley.
Yeah, that was the first one he done.
Was it?
Yeah.
Gas.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it.
It was very good.
It was brilliant. He always has great
Brilliant.
ideas, and he's got a great understanding.
Would you and Eric ever think about doing your own, like Join the Hood or
I
something
said
like
it to
that?
Eric there actually a couple of years ago, yeah.
That'd be deadly.
It'd be great to revisit and for us to do it.
That'd be really good.
You know?
I think that'd be deadly. You've worked with some comedy legends, obviously Jason Bourne, Tommy Tiernan, like Kevin Bridges. What's it like being surrounded by big names like that?
Yeah, it's great. You've got to act really kind of cool, even though you're really excited. Like, you know, I've been very fortunate. You know, I've gigged with Mickey Flanagan. I've gigged with Dara O'Brien, John Bishop. To name kind of but a few, and you learn a lot.
Yeah,
you learn a lot. And what I kind of learned from the big kind of fellas as well is that there's just a niceness about them all, like, you know.
Yeah.
They've arrived where they are, like, through hard work and, you know, sweat. And you got to remember, like, these guys just didn't turn up and do live at the Apollo or start selling out arenas.
Of course, yeah.
You know, like, I remember John Bishop a few years ago doing small clubs and, you know, just kind of getting by. And then all of a sudden, you know, he gets a break on a league of their own, and that's it, like.
Yeah.
He's catapulted.
Yeah.
You know, went down to see him a couple of weeks ago and went backstage before the gig because he'd be a mate of mine, and we got to meet him, and me and my missus and our sister and our niece, and he's just such a nice fella. A lot of fellas like that, the money doesn't change them; they remain.
Would you like to be at that level, like of fame and everything?
Yeah, I'd love to be at it. Yeah, I firmly believe that I wouldn't lose the run of myself if I start earning money like that. You know.
Yeah.
I'd still be the same fella that I am. I know things will get a little bit hectic. I like the way I am at the moment.
Just kind of have that balance.
Yeah, because you can just walk around and people say, how are you? And just get a nod photograph or whatever. And do you know what I mean? You can go into a shop and just browse, and not people just leave you alone. Like. But it's kind of much the same as well, because I was only saying to John as well when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, because myself, John and Jason and my partner Linda went for food in London about 3 years ago, and we walked with John. Jason was going down to the Soho Theatre, and we walked with John through London. He was going to get a train, and we were walking for about 15 minutes, and I was thinking, he's going to get mobbed by people walking onto the street. And one person all the way come up and apologetically said to him, listen, I'm really, really sorry for interrupting you. I'm a really big fan. Could I get a photograph?
Well, probably handle that.
You know, so it's like, he in a sense, it's like, if it was like that, I'd love to be able to do it. Yeah. Look, come here. The dream is the Tree Arena. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I went down there and I looked. There's 9,500 people, and you're just looking in awe at the place, going, Jesus. Like I mean, when I done the Gaiety, my nephew said to me, he said, I remember turning the corner at the top of Grafton Street and seeing the queue, and thinking to myself, these are all going to see you. Like, these are going to see my uncle. Like, he says, and it was...
It's a real...
He said, it's like, it's crazy. Like when I walked out on stage at the Gaiety and I seen all these people, you're just kind of catching your breath and you're going, Jesus.
Yeah.
You know?
Last week, Michael Flatley, Riverdance. This week, Willa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Your podcast, You Must Be Joking with Eric Lawler, right? Brilliant. It's taken off, and you've just won an award, and you're up for 5 more awards, I think.
Yeah, we got nominated,
Amazing. Congratulations to you both. It must be nice doing a podcast like with your bestie. Yeah,
it's great. Eric is a great fella. He's me and him have remained friends, good friends since joining the Hood. I never knew Eric.
Before
we got a great friendship going, and some of the laughs that we've had over the years, just getting in the car and going to places and doing gigs. I mean, even a couple of weeks ago, we were down in Ballycotton and there was a comedy festival. I was actually doing my own gig down there where Eric was down there doing a gig with other people.
That's supposed to be lovely down there, isn't it?
It's gorgeous. I was in a venue called, it's called the Sea Church. Really, really nice place. And yeah, it was amazing. And just the next day, that night we had a bit of laugh in the pub, and the next day we all went for a swim. Myself, Joe Dowling and Danny O'Brien, and we got into the sea and it was freezing.
Yeah.
And it's just stuff like that you kind of cherish, and you put in the memory bank. Brilliant. And you have a bit of crack,
Yeah. Would you have the level of fame now where you would have a stalker, do you think, like Richard Gadd, Baby Reindeer? Come in handy, an old stalker.
I don't know. I don't think I'm that. I don't think I kind of have your Richard Gere or your Brad Pitt kind of looks for people to be. Well, I suppose it's different horses for different courses.
This is not a podcast studio, by the way. This, I just got you here.
No, it's just come here. It's just no, I wouldn't. I'd like to just bleed and I'd like to just get by, Did
you see Baby Reindeer? It was one of my favourite things.
I thought it was brilliant.
Thought it was brilliant.
I think he put himself out on a limb as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's getting sued, or Netflix or getting sued by your woman. So it's mad, isn't it?
100%, yeah.
So being famous, is not really a label that you don't like. You don't really like that label. You prefer just to say, well, I'm popular.
I like being noticed, and I like being, I like people to say hello, and you'll always get the odd one or whatever. Oh, yeah. You're not bleeding funny or whatever, and that's all right as well. You can't.
Why would somebody come up and say that?
Because people just like to say that, I think Irish people just sometimes like to try and knock you off your perch,
100%.
And that's all right. I find sometimes in life is that people want you to do well, but they don't want you to do as well as they're doing.
Don't be getting too well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pull the reins in a little bit,
Yeah. And how'd you deal with that? Are you just well, fuck you, just keep doing my thing?
It's just whatever. Look, let everybody have their own opinion. People are pissed off or people are annoyed. There's obviously something going on underneath.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you just kind of give them the right and just go, whatever.
Yeah. 100%. Ricky Gervais, right? He's very vocal about his criticism of cancel culture, woke culture, defends comedy. He says, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. I love that. Do you think that woke culture is killing comedy? Do you think, what's it like being a comedian in 2024?
I think sometimes you've really got to tread the waters carefully and be very careful sometimes about what you're saying. When you look at how comedy has evolved from looking back at the likes of Bernard Manning, from 70s comedy in the 70s where you could basically say what you want, in a sense, from being racist.
Paint your face black and all,
to being homophobic, to being any of that kind of stuff. You can't do that now and it's frowned upon. So I suppose, in a sense, is it really freedom of speech? I don't know. I think you're kind of handcuffed a little bit.
Absolutely.
To kind of dot your I's and cross your T's.
Yeah.
And be careful of what you're saying, because if you say the wrong thing, it happened to a guy there a while ago that was prominent in the kind of podcast world, and that I'm not going to name the guy or anything like that, but he said something, and the carpet was literally pulled from underneath him, straight away,
cancelled in a blink of an eye. It is bullshit, isn't it? Really, because you say things, it's a joke. It's literally a joke,
Yeah, I know it is sometimes, but this guy said something that was probably a joke with his mates, but the power of social media and someone with a camera to film you saying something. And it's like that saying, the camera never lies. If that's you in front of the camera saying that,
you can't deny it.
That's you.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, so you've really got to be, you got to be careful at all times. And even in the public eye, to do or say. People have smartphones all the time and can record. You can't even get beaten up on the street without people filming you getting beaten up.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We're living in a culture where smartphones are part of everyday life, and cameras and recordings and people filming people. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. I don't know if you watched South Park. There was this episode called South Park Post-COVID, and it was set 40 years after the pandemic into the future, and it's just kind of shown how mental things have gone, and how woke things have gone. And I think Stan or something, he's working as an online whiskey tasting consultant. But your man who has cerebral palsy, and I can't remember his name, but he's now a stand-up comedian. And he said, like, he'll come out and he'll go like, how about those Mexicans? And then everyone will go, yeah. And you go, yeah, they've got great food and they're really nice people and they've got nice beaches and I'm really happy for them. And everyone goes, yeah. And then he comes off and then somebody calls him. He's like, come here, you can't be saying anything about, no, you need to cut out the hummus jokes and all. And he's just like, oh, God damn it. And, and it's like that, it's probably not far off the truth. Well, like, how about those Polish people? They're really nice people. That's what they are.
But come here, that still happens today. Like, I had a phone call off a fella there a few months ago that was trying to tell me that I couldn't do certain material that I was doing, like. And in the beginning, I kind of went, yeah, do you know, you're right, and maybe I could change this and change that. And then I kind of thought to myself, when I put the phone down, I went, what are you people pleasing for? Like, you need to be true to yourself. And I just got back onto him and I went, no, I said, I'm not doing that, like. Like,
because
if you were to play,
your stuff. That's your stuff.
Listen, I mean, people joke about things. It's a joke. It's not personal. If you're coming to a comedy club and, like you said, if you're getting offended, like,
doesn't mean you're right.
No, I mean, we are not there to offend anybody. We're there to say things with a funny slant on them, and sometimes they mightn't be the way that it's been. I mean, I do accents of Nigerian people. I do accents of Indian people. That's not to say that I'm racist. No. I've got good friends that are black. I've got good friends that are that are Indian. I mean, it's not. I think it's when you're putting them down and you're belittling them.
Yeah.
I think that's when it becomes racist. But I mean, you've really just got to watch what you're saying and how you're saying it, like, because you can be portrayed to be something really that you're not. Yeah.
Like, I think as well, like, with AI as well, like you're saying, the camera's on you and there's no escape, and then you said something on camera. Like, it's going to come to a point where you will be on camera. Willa White will be on camera saying something that you didn't say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could get to that as well, so you'd be like, well, fucking didn't say that. Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
Because of AI now. It's mad.
I understand, yeah. I mean, so that just opens another can of worms, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just mad. Like, it's trying to navigate that. Trying to navigate that. Like, it must be just so difficult.
I think you need to have, I think when that does happen, it's kind of where were you on that day at that time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's meant to be a podcast studio in Dundrum on the 17th of October, you've got to say, well, this is where it was. It wasn't me, like,
It wasn't me.
Yeah, hopefully I'm
literally
in Mexico eating lovely Mexican food on the lovely beaches.
I mean, there's no end to your talents. You're a singer.
Yeah, I do a small bit of singing, yeah. I've always loved singing and I've always loved entertaining. I mean, I used to do talent shows as a kid. Like, I remember we used to get up and mime the specials and bad manners and that at the local talent competition. So kind of always on stage. I remember, I always say I have this vision of my sister. I remember Shawadi Waddy used to sing a song called A Little Bit of Soap, and it was about washing away the lipstick on your face from your girlfriend. And I always have this vision of my sister, God be good to her, standing side stage, putting lipstick on and kissing me on the cheeks. Like, do you know what I mean?
Such a lovely memory.
Yeah, before I went on stage. And, and it's mad because people look at you and they go, oh, he's great and he's so cute and all. But little did they know what was going on at home in their house, like, in their flat, like me and my sister.
Yeah.
Like what we were witnessing and what we were caught up in. So in a way, kind of the talent competition was an escape for us as well, to get away from what was going on. The reality is you probably go home that night and my mother would be getting beaten around the place or whatever, and it was just a horror scene,
Yeah, that's horrible. I mean, you're going back to your sobriety. You are a long time sober. Like, I was trying to do the maths. We were 29.
2001.
So that makes you 53?
I'm 53.
Are you?
Yeah.
You don't look it.
I don't feel it and I don't act it.
Drop the skincare routine.
No, I actually look after my skin, funny enough.
My friend is a scaffolder, Nolly McHugh, and
only talking to him earlier.
Yeah. And
Nolly's a good mate of mine.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's got great skin as well.
Yeah.
I was out when we were at Coldplay.
It's his little fella's birthday today.
Yeah.
He's 2.
We were at Coldplay, and I was like, how do you not age? You know, maybe it's a scaffolding thing.
Yeah, Nolly's he's a great guy, you know.
Yeah.
Them fellas are they're just good people, yeah. And what did you think of Coldplay?
Great. Amazing. Yeah. Fantastic. They were really, really good. I wasn't there for Aslan though. I was a bit raging for that. But yeah, it's great. Like Chris Martin is such a nice guy, isn't he? He's just like a nice guy.
He is amazing. I remember that song come out, Yellow, it come out I think it was the 14th of June 2000. And I was in prison at the time and I was watching it on the telly, and I remember thinking, what a great song. Like, but little did you know how good they were going to be. And I mean, they're a worldwide renowned act. Like, they're huge. Yeah. Brilliant. And what a great variety of songs, I mean, to suit everybody, you know.
Oh, the gig like in Crow Park was just brilliant, you know.
And it was amazing.
They give you these like... I
went on the Sunday night.
Yeah, there were little wristbands. And that just kind of made it, didn't it?
Yeah, it was, come here, it was just out. It was just up there with it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know Oasis is coming and Oasis are going to be great, but it's not going to be Coldplay. Yeah. You know, Oasis support, did you hear who it is?
No.
So it's Richard Ashcroft from the Verve.
Okay.
Him and some other bands. He's 2 bands supporting him.
Like, I feel like I'm very conflicted. I love them, but I wasn't paying mad money for them. Like, they can get in the bin for that, like €500, €600, and the person beside you has paid €80. And for what? Like, where's the same? Imagine you doing that now, like, your gigs.
It says because of the popularity of them went up, like.
Should we all logged in at the same time, you know?
It's disgraceful. I think Oasis have a lot to answer for as well. I don't think it's the promoters.
They do. It's kind of left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth over it.
Why didn't Oasis pull the reins and they go, no, this is what the tickets are like. I mean, there's John Bishop going back to John. John has got a new show on now at the moment called 25 Years of Stand-Up. And all the tickets are 25 quid.
Lovely. Isn't that brilliant?
And that's it. The €25 or the £25.
Yeah.
And it's you know.
Especially like giving Oasis and the you know, Lehman Knowles their background themselves, and they're supposed to be working class heroes and they struggled and all. Do you think that they would do something like that?
Well, I think this is the cash cow, isn't it? They're jumping in, and I mean they don't care. They obviously don't care. Yeah. If they're letting tickets be sold for that. I mean, if I'm paying 500 quid for Oasis tickets, I want them to come up and do the garden and valet the bleeding car and do the big shop and do a few things. And then go down to the gig, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not worth it. It does leave a bad taste.
No, it is. It's bullshit now, honest to God. Yeah, so like looking ahead, like what's coming up for you? You have a few gigs in the Ambassador over Christmas.
Yeah, I got a few gigs in the Ambassador. It's called Willa White Christmas. And it's just a Christmas kind of variety show with all different comedians. Yeah. Different guests on each night. It will be announced Monday at 12 o'clock who the lineups are and who's on. And it'll be maybe a different night out for Christmas, like, you know. Some people will probably come in, you know, with corporate stuff, with companies and that. And generally on the whole, Christmas gigs can be messy, like. Yeah. You know, so I've kind of instructed, you know, to the door staff and that, look, if anyone is like half cooked coming into the venue, don't let them in. Yeah. And just give them back their money. I want people to come along. I want them to enjoy the night. I'm not saying, you know, you've not to drink. Yeah, of course, it's Christmas. Have a few drinks. But don't be coming in walking sideways, because it just ruins it for other people,
it's funny
you know.
You say that, because when we were in Belfast, there was a few bit of messing going on, wasn't there?
Yeah,
I thought you handled it very well.
I did handle it very well, because if you lose the run of yourself in something like that, and you lose control, people get annoyed with you. So you've got to be really,
and you have to be mindful of everybody else.
Yeah, of course. You've got to be delicate, and you've got to be mindful of how you handle it. Like, and I don't know
why
nice.
You would go to see a comedian and you would go to the bother of sitting down and hearing your material and then like just be locked or off your face and like chatting to your mates the whole time. I don't like, why not just go to the pub?
Yeah, I think the problem is that them people came up early in the day and they just had a few drinks, and normally I'd say if you put them in there without being coming up for the day and having a few drinks, and they went out at, a normal hour, 8 o'clock, and had a couple of bottles, there would have been no trouble at all whatsoever. So I get it, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's nothing personal to them, but it is a little bit disrespectful.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's disrespectful for other people that have paid good money to come in and watch it when you've got someone beside you who keeps talking.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
come on.
You gave them a few chances, like you were like, here, did you learn to whisper in a helicopter?
Yeah. And that's a no put down. Like, it's not even mine. Like, but I mean, it is. It's like, have a bit of respect for the people around you. Like, it's not about me sometimes that's on the stage. I do think of the other people that's paid money and that really want to listen, and you've got to listen to that. Like, and they're afraid to say anything because they've got a few drinks or they'll make a scene. Like, so you've got to address it for them. Like, and that's why people clap when you're saying it because they're going, thank God, like, you know.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is. I think people just need to be mindful.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to be mindful of other people when you're intoxicated.
Yeah. Like with the Olympia, like tomorrow night as well, I think with the type of venue that it is, even if people were kind of messing or whatever, you wouldn't really notice it as well, hopefully.
No, I think the Olympia is going to be very much so like the Gaiety. People are coming for a good night out and they're coming for comedy.
The right reasons.
Like, so they're there to see you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not as if they've been out all day or, they'll finish work tomorrow and they'll get themselves ready and they'll go into town, have a couple of drinks and they'll come into the gig and it's going to be electric. I just know for a fact it is. Like, I'm
you just seem so relaxed.
Yeah, I am, but I'm kind of like the duck. Do you know what I mean? I'm above the water.
You're like that
I look real calm, and then underneath, it's like, do you know what I mean? So, it's gonna be great. And you know what? It'll be over before I know it. So I just like to stand there and I like to savor it and kind of just take it all in.
Like before, do you have a little ritual that you do before it?
I just usually kind of chill out backstage and I take my shoes off and I sit in the green room and eat a few Haribo jellies and.
Is that on your
just kind of,
that's request?
Yeah. So, and I just kind of, I chill out. My support act is Joe Dowling, is a great fella. He'll come in and I'll just have a chat with him and we just kind of run through what we're going to do, what his time is and, and that's it. And just give people a good night. Give them what they've paid for without paying €600 for a ticket,
Chapel Roan. She's the one of the biggest pop stars in the world, isn't she? And she did the Olympia a couple of weeks ago. There you go.
The last big, I've seen a few bands in the Olympia. I've seen Paul Weller and I went to see the Christians in there in the 90s. They were brilliant.
I've seen Paul Weller in there, yeah. The Coronas are very good there.
There's been a lot of famous people on that stage.
Sorry, it's not called the Olympia anymore, is it?
It's the 3 Olympia.
3 Olympia. Excuse me. Well, it'll always be the Olympia if you're from Dublin.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Well, best of luck. And I will see you on 6th of November in the Laughter Lounge.
You will.
For You Must Be Joking Live. And is there still tickets available for that?
There is still tickets available if people want to get them. Yeah, it is. It's selling. I'm not going to sit here and go, there's only so many tickets left. There's tickets there. Yeah. We'd love you to come along. It's going to be a great night. The guest list is getting announced on, I think it's Monday, who's going to be on. And it'll be a night with music, laughters and some serious conversation and a bit of crack. Brilliant. Light-hearted, Yeah, looking forward to that. So yeah, thank you. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for coming in. I know you're so busy. You're very welcome, Niamh. Thank you for having me. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in, and make sure to follow Willa on Instagram and check out his upcoming shows and listen to his podcast, You Must Be Joking with Eric. And until then, next time, take care of yourselves and slán. Go fóill. Slánte.